Hi guys, welcome to Wrestling Retrospective, and in this video I will be reviewing Impact Wrestling's Victory Road. So the night started off with kind of a countdown, a kind of pre-show, and it was where Bullet Club defeated Jason Hotch, Shogun and Jack Price. I thought this was an action-packed way to start off the pre-show at least. I thought it was quite a straightforward win for Bullet Club. I'm not having any idea who the opponents were for Bullet Club, which kind of made me think that this would 100% be a Bullet Club win. It's a shame that they've been down to the pre-show. I thought they'd be like a main attraction, especially as they are so big in Japan. But yeah, the match itself was really good. As I said, hoping that the Bullet Club will start going further up the card now. You know, Chris Bay, Juice Robinson, and Ace Austin are all great competitors, all really good in the ring, and they do really deserve to be further up the card, maybe even towards the X Division and stuff like that. But yeah, I thought, again, action-packed way to start off the night. Really good tag team match, but it was a straightforward win for the Bullet Club. Following that, we had Killer Kelly versus Tasha Steelz on the pre-show, where Tasha Steelz got the win via disqualification. Weren't sure on the finish, but I suppose if they're trying to make Killer Kelly as some kind of, well, killer, then it makes sense. She kind of assaulted a referee, which caused the disqualification. But yeah, I think this was the first time I've actually seen Killer Kelly wrestle. I have heard a lot about it, a lot of positives. I've been listening to the Cultaholic podcast of the Desert Island Graps with Killer Kelly, and it's really interesting, her story about how she's been stuck in Portugal for the last 2 years before coming back to Impact. I said I enjoyed the match. I think if they continue to book Killer Kelly as such a threat, I feel like she could quite easily make her way quickly up the card towards the Knockouts Championship. But yeah, as of what I've seen of her so far, I genuinely think I could become a big fan of hers. I like the way she wrestles. I like the character as well, the kind of sadistic, and you know, they concentrate on the eyes a lot as well, which is really cool. As Tasha Steelz, she seems like a safe pair of hands for someone debuting in the women's division. You know, obviously former Knockouts champion herself. But yeah, I can't imagine why they wouldn't have her become champion again at some point, and I can 100% see Killer Kelly becoming Knockouts champion at some point. And I think a match between her and Jordan Grace will be really, really good. And I said, yeah, the match was really good. Probably the better of the two matches on the pre-show. I wouldn't say it was match of the night, but as I said, genuinely enjoyed it. Can't wait to see what Killer Kelly does in the future. Moving on to the main show now, and it kicked off with Speedball Might defending his X Division Championship against Delirious. One thing that is throughout the show is that there's quite a few people I've not seen before. Delirious is one of them. He sounds very good from what the commentators said, kind of a veteran of the wrestling industry. And yeah, I thought this was a strike fest, really enjoyed it. I saw it as like a classic X Division match. It fit what the X Division is perfectly. I think, as I said, it was a great way to start the main show. And every time I see Speedball Might he impresses me more and more. As I said, I'm not majorly familiar with him, apart from him being in Impact. But again, when he signed with Impact, I did hear a lot of positives about him. But yeah, he's just a fantastic wrestler. Delirious was a great opponent for him. And we know who Speedball Might who will be defending against at Bound for Glory in a couple of weeks. Well, I think it's next weekend. But yeah, I thought it's a really good way to start off the main show. Really good match, especially for the X Division, and yeah, it seems like Speedball Might is becoming one of the more historic X Division champions in history, which is really good. So yeah, I look forward to seeing his title reign continue. Following that, we had the Motor City Machine Guns face PCO and Vincent of Honor No More. I thought this was a decent tag team match. I think it was a little bit too obvious that the Motor City Machine Guns would get the win here. I think it was just a way to get them onto the card, as they are number one contenders for the World Tag Team Championships. It made perfect sense for them to win, and it would almost derail them if they were to have lost this one, unless shenanigans would have happened, but there wasn't any. And yeah, I think one thing I don't seem to understand is why PCO is so over. I personally really am not a fan of his, really. I understand the extreme stuff that he's been doing and stuff like that, but I don't know, I don't like the, I mean, the character's okay, it's just that, like, I find him very stiff and very slow. But yeah, I don't understand what the hype is behind him, but maybe people are seeing something that I can't. As for the makeshift machine guns, I don't think they'll take the titles from Bennett and Taven at Bound for Glory. I feel like they should have a longer reign, but then it does make sense for the makeshift machine guns historically to win the titles. But yeah, it's nice that they're having like a resurgence almost in Impact compared to the kind of early 2000s, well, sorry, late 2000s. But yeah, I thought this was way too predictable that the machine guns would win, which kind of took away from it. As a tag team match, though, it was really decent, and I'm looking forward to having Taven and Bennett versus the machine guns at Bound for Glory. Moving on, we had Giselle Shaw versus Mickie James. I didn't really see much of this match going into it. I thought it'd just be almost a squash match for Mickie James, but it really wasn't. It genuinely surprised me. I would actually have said it was match of the night almost, to be fair, like the way it surprised me anyway. I felt like it was an obvious result. I think there was no doubt that Mickie James was going to get the win here and kind of continue her lead up to Knockouts Championship. However, at the points during the match, I really weren't sure. I really thought that Giselle Shaw was going to get the win. I think compared to the last time I saw Giselle Shaw, which was against all odds, I think when she was an honorary member of Tenille Dashwood's and Melissa Reigns tag team, I didn't really think much of her. I didn't really like the way she wrestled, but in this match, she impressed me like loads. I thought she did really well. The improvements were very obvious. As I said, that's what kind of made me be put off by the match. I was like, oh, Mickie James will just run over her, but it just wasn't the case. She genuinely impressed me. She did some incredible moves. And as for Mickie, she looks great, to say that her age and how long she's been doing this for. She looked incredible. She made Shaw look great as well. I actually thought it was one of the better matches of the show overall. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what Giselle, like how much more she can improve going forward. I also look forward to other matches that Mickie James will have towards like her retirement / kind of way to the title. Bound for Glory, she's going to face Mia Yim, which I think is going to be an incredible match. I've got a lot more to say about Mia Yim when we talk about the Triple Threat Revolver. But as I said, this match really impressed me. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. So yeah, very happy with that one. And speaking of Triple Threat Revolver, we had Frankie Kazarian defeat 7 other superstars, I can't remember all the names of them, to be honest with you, to win a number 1 contenders match for the X Division Championship. As I said, Frankie Kazarian versus Speedball Might Bailey, I think will be a really good match at Bound for Glory. Will be put with the highest standards of the X Division. But as for the match itself, I absolutely love how Impact have their intergender matches. Women like Tessa Blanchard, Jordan Grace, and here with Mia Yim, they continue to make women's wrestling just more awesome than it already is. I love women's wrestling, but also it shows that there's nothing to kind of worry about. I know that WWE and AEW don't do it very often due to sponsors and stuff, but I really don't see why. I mean, there shouldn't be an issue with women wrestling men. It's all safe at the end of the day. Well, or maybe not all the time, but it's all very seen as safe. So I don't really understand what the issue majorly is. I know it's like man-on-woman violence, but at the end of the day, if they both consented to it, I don't see what the issue is. But as I said, Mia Yim looked absolutely incredible in this match. Getting the first 2 eliminations of the match as well, I thought was really good. And then she just continued to put on great wrestling with whoever she was in the ring with. She then got eliminated by Kenny King. And yeah, the match itself was really good, really entertaining, very quick paced. It kind of didn't slow down how I thought it might have, just proving how good the X Division is, and I think it always should be held to a high regard. Because I know some people see it as like a cruiserweight division, but it's really not, because I think Brian Cage once won the X Division Championship. But yeah, I said really happy with this one. I thought it was a really good win for Kazarian. Obviously, with him not being used very much in AEW, it makes sense for him to come into Impact and do some work with them. I said the match concept itself is really cool. Instead of just having a gauntlet match, you have a triple threat one instead. I think it adds more elements to it and adds that kind of unpredictableness, if that's a word, to it. And I said, yeah, Might Bailey versus Frankie Kazarian at Bound for Glory should be really good, and I very much look forward to that. After that, we had Honor No More members Eddie Edwards and the OGs facing Impact World Champion Josh Alexander, Heath, and Rich Swann, with Honor No More getting the win, which I thought was a massive win for Honor No More, especially with Eddie Edwards pinning Josh Alexander. And the basic question, could Eddie Kingston beat Alexander at Bound for Glory? I don't think so, I'm going to be honest with you. I think they're going to build someone else up who could beat Josh Alexander. Before all this match happened, we had Bobby Fish debut and kind of have an interaction with Shearer. I think Bobby Fish could take the title off Josh Alexander, in fairness. I think if they're going to have him on more regularly, and it seems like he doesn't want to be in AEW, doesn't seem to be going back to WWE, therefore Impact is the perfect place for Bobby Fish just to be at for now. And yeah, I think that he will put on really good matches with multiple people in Impact, and I think he could definitely take the title for Josh Alexander, and I wouldn't be against it happening either. I'd be quite happy with that, to be fair. The match itself I thought was very scrappy. I think a lot of rules got like ignored and stuff like that throughout the match, but I was fine with it. As I said, with Honor No More's Callahan and Bennett being tag team champions as well, I think I think that having Eddie Edwards as champion would be good. It means like this takeover of Impact gimmick kind of would work, and it was kind of, oh, we've succeeded, but then where does it go from there other than just losing? Also, they've lost a lot in the build up to this, so it's kind of like since debuting to now, they have lost a lot, and it kind of took away from them as a whole. Well, that's how I saw it anyway, but I'm glad that they're on track to kind of take over Impact. And it wouldn't surprise me if this feud didn't just end here, it kind of went on to the next event after Bound for Glory. But yeah, as I said, I think it's going to be a really good match between Eddie Edwards and Josh Alexander. Alexander seems to be taking on all like the original Impact members and having really good matches against them, so I'm very much looking forward to the match itself. As I said in the previously in the video, Tavern and Bennett versus Machine Gun should be really good as well. So Bound for Glory is looking like a really, really good show in my opinion, and I can't wait to watch it. Next up, we had Jordan Grace defeating Maxine Paler in a non-title match, but it was a pick your poison, so the challenger for the women's championship, who I can't remember the name of off the top of my head, chose Maxine Paler as Grace's opponent for this match. First of all, it's the first time I've seen Maxine Paler, and well, Maxine Paler, and holy shit, what a presentation of a wrestler. I loved it. It reminded me a bit of how The Fiend should have been presented, in its own way, obviously, but like a similar thing to this, how intimidating she is. I keep saying she, but she's like not, she's a they. I do apologise for that. But yeah, I thought this was an awesome match. Jordan Grace got absolutely dominated throughout, but then she obviously came back into the match eventually and got the win quite quickly. It reminded me very much of like a John Cena match where the champion's on the back burner for a lot of it, getting absolutely dominated, and then like a quick flurry, some big moves, and the big finisher on Max, and she gets the win. But yeah, I thought it was a decent match. Very impressed with Maxine Paler. Jordan Grace continues to be a very good knockouts champion. Very unsure who's going to take the title from her at this point. I know she's got, is it Masha Slamovich or something like that, at Bound for Glory. I don't think she's going to take the title from her. I think they're going to save it for Jordan Grace versus Mickie James, or maybe in a retirement match or something like that. But as I said, the match itself was really good. Pardon me, very one-sided throughout, but then the champion getting the win. And then Jordan Grace after the match gave her challenger at Bound for Glory her pick a poison match. I think it was against someone from GCW. Can't quite remember what her name is because I don't watch GCW. But it seemed like a massive deal, so I might have to watch that. I think it's tonight, to be fair, Thursday. But yeah, sounded like it was going to be a really good match. This match again was good, I enjoyed it. Very impressed with Maxine Paler, and as I said, the presentation of it all. And yeah, I look forward to Jordan Grace's match at Bound for Glory. And finally, in the main event, Steve Macklin defeated Sami Callahan and Moose in a barbed wire massacre match. I thought this was match of the night by far. I said the only one closer to it I thought was Giselle Shaw and Mickie James, though I don't think they were really on the same level. It was bloody, it was brutal, it was just what a fight it was. I genuinely really enjoyed it. It wasn't quite the barbed wire massacre match I thought it would be, because they still had the ropes, but the ropes were kind of like covered in barbed wire. I thought they would have got rid of the ropes with it being the main event. As I said, I love barbed wire, fucking pin tacks, all the extreme stuff is really my kind of thing. I genuinely enjoy it. A good old bloody match is what I like. But yeah, I thought Sonny Callahan was going to get the win in this one. I was quite surprised to see Steve McQueen get the win. Very unsure what these three are going to be doing at Bound for Glory though. I'm kind of hoping that Sonny Callahan's going to eventually make his way back up to the title scene. I don't think he'll take the title from Josh Alexander, but maybe take it away from the person that beats Josh Alexander. I would like to see him have a decent title reign, other than the quite short one he had when he then lost it to Tessa Blanchard back in early 2020. I thought it was a huge win for Steve McQueen. I think that he could be in line for a championship match. But then same for Moose as well. All of them could easily be inserted into the main event scene. The feud between the three of them has been really, really good. And the match to kind of finish it, hopefully it will finish in so off being Barbed Wire Massacre, I thought was a really good way to finish the feud, and a really good way to finish what was a pretty decent show in fairness. And I very much, as I said before, I'm looking forward to Bound for Glory, because I think it's working itself up to be a really good show. And it's going to be, I know it's like Impact's WrestleMania is Bound for Glory, so yeah, very much look forward to it. I think it's next weekend. I said I'll do a review for that if I get to watch it. If I don't watch it live, I'll watch it later on, then do a review. But yeah, as I said, this match was my match of the night. I loved it. Blood, guts, all that kind of thing. I love it. So of course it was going to be a match of the night. Right, today are my thoughts and opinions on Victory Road 2022. Please do comment down below what you enjoyed the most about it, what your match of the night was. And also, as usual, I'll ask you to subscribe, like the video, put the notification bell on, all that YouTube cliche shit. And I will see you soon, as in the next few days there should be a AEW Grand Slam for Dynamite and Rampage review out. But for now, I'll see you guys later.